They spent $1 million in Roundup.
At this critical
So,
juncture,
Yeah.
the director of United States of
$300,000
America
for an auction that one big
for what we face today. As mayor, I will work hard.
15 seconds, here we go.
Enhance our technological
Here we go.
ecosystem and create
10.
regional prosperity for us all. Please vote for me, Robert Avery, for Reno mayor. Together, we will make a
And
difference.
5,
Paid for by
4,
Friends for Robert Avery.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to Conversations from the Capitol. We just started a discussion here that I think is going to go on for a long time. Not necessarily today, but it's going to go on for many days after this, many weeks, probably many months. We're talking about the incident that happened down in southern Nevada, southeastern Nevada. You probably could say it's right on the border, just about between Nevada and Utah. And that's the incident with the Bundy Ranch and Bundy family down there. We have Assemblywoman Michelle Fiore join us on the phone from southern Nevada. And we've been talking with her, and she was down there actually at the time witnessing what was going on, along with our panel member, Teresa Catalani. Teresa?
Well, I just wanted to point out to everyone that I firmly believe that when our state joined the union, they never imagined that there would be a day when we were told that we were not allowed to use those lands, especially ranchers using it for their cattle. Because, I mean, hello, even the tortoise has survived the bison that used to roam the plains. So there's no logic, and
Does anyone know if there was ever bison in Nevada?
there
Bison
were.
in Nevada?
No, I'm sure there were. They roamed all the plains.
There used to be clothed horses.
That I do know, yes, there used to be quite a bit of that. But,
No, we have
we
Michelle.
got off track here.
We have Michelle on the line still, right?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, I wanted to throw a couple of other things. You know, I've got a number of issues, or there have been a number of issues thrown up. You mentioned the desert tortoises, and I think we're all pretty much aware that's a sham. That makes about as much sense as the video sparking the riots, the terrible events of Benghazi. So that's out there. But we keep on hearing this is about a nation of laws. Harry Reid was on television espousing his views that this is a nation of laws, and we have to enforce the laws and prosecute this man. And I want to remind people that this is a nation of laws. We've got a president who has violated those laws time and time again on his own health care act. We have an attorney general who refuses to enforce immigration laws and give special treatment to the new Black Panthers and others. We have duties of the federal government to protect the states against invasion, and yet we've allowed 20 million people to illegally enter the country, which we don't enforce, we don't use force against. So that argument is specious. The use of excess force. We have 200 federal agents armed showing up on one rancher's porch when we have gangs roaming our cities, and we're not using any force against those. Equal enforcement. We've had politicians and special interests get special privileges, but in a case where we've got a legitimate case of being grandfathered because of 4 or 5 generations of grazing on this public land, we can't make an accommodation for.
And we will now go to the Lynn Seamus for president.
I know, that's why we need to let Michelle speak here, Glenn.
I just wanted to get her thoughts on a few of those issues.
Okay, well, first of all, my thought is if our federal government put their projects along the border and had 240 agents with guns, we could probably fix the illegal immigration problem right there if we actually enforce border patrol. You know, so they allow the drug cartels in our country, but they don't allow cows to eat on the range. That's kind of telling.
Something's wrong with this
That's
picture.
all I'll say there. What I really hope what's happening at the Bundy Ranch begins a serious dialogue over why this state is 87% controlled by the federal government and how we can bring that control back to Nevada, period.
Well,
So
Michelle,
what
if
I
you'll
want-
remember, we put through, and I believe you were even a co-sponsor of AB 227.
Yeah, 227, yes.
Right, the Nevada lands
and
bill.
Utah actually has a land bill that had went through, but is having some legality issues right now as well. So this is not going to happen overnight, but I think because of the events that occurred last week at the Bundy Ranch, where the whole United States saw us being governed at gunpoint, that's raising a lot of questions. So shame on BLM, but however, I'm actually... you know, if they didn't do that, then we wouldn't be having this discussion on what's really wrong here.
Okay, Michelle, our audience member guest has made her way back up to the microphone, and I believe she has a question for you. Go ahead.
Yes, Michelle, I was wondering, are you aware that the BLM wrote out treaties on the Royal Jasper quarterly that the Department of Interior should have been overlooking? And it wasn't just the cows they're killing the horses, the buffaloes, and the wild dogs. So it would be all animals.
Yeah, and I have to just tell you, our elected representative officials, okay, have surrendered their entire legislative authority to unelected agents. That's basically giving the department to then form the BLM and literally make decisions that should be coming from elected officials. So we basically, unfortunately, our elected representative officials have surrendered their entire legislative authority over to unelected agents. and
Michelle,
that's
I'm
a big
not sure
problem.
if you're aware of this, but I want to make sure our listeners are aware of it. But Congressman Issa, chairman of the House Oversight Committee, has started an investigation into the involvement of some of our elected officials in this particular incident.
I heard that was a rumor. But
Say that
anyway,
again.
Well, I had heard that Congressman Issa, chairman of the House Oversight Committee, has started an investigation, an official investigation into this incident, and especially some of the political officials' involvement in it.
Well, until I see it in writing, I'm really.
I
have to
heard
say,
that was debunked.
My optimism for the federal government is quite questionable after the behavior that they've displayed to the whole United States of America this past week in Bunkerville.
well, also sitting here that's joined our panel, we have a really good Republican woman with us, Diane Baranowski, and she has been directly involved with the Washoe Republican Party, as well as she's a member of our Central Committee, and she's also part of the Nevada Federation of Republican Women. Diane?
Well, thank you, Teresa. I'm so happy to be here today and talk about an event that we're working hard on. Next Thursday, April 24th, Thursday night, April 24th, the 5 Washoe County Federated Republican Women's Clubs are putting on an informative evening of, it's called our Candidates Forum. We have invited every Republican candidate up and down the ticket to attend this forum. They will have a minute at the podium to speak to people, and we're inviting every single voter in Washoe County to come to this up at the Pepper Mill next Thursday and meet and mingle with their candidates, find out exactly who is running, what some of the issues are, and have a real chance to know who's coming up on the primary ballot then on June 10th. So we invite everyone to come to the Pepper Mill. It's only $5 per person to come, and all students, high school, college, are free with student ID. So it's accessible, it's going to be a lovely event. You can start coming about 4:30 if you'd like. Congressman Amadei will be speaking at 5 p.m. because he has to leave shortly thereafter to attend something else in Carson.
Isn't there gonna be food there?
No, there will. There actually will be
You're out of
light
luck, guys.
appetizers.
Right.
Yes, the Pepper Mill is really going to help us put on a lovely affair. A no-host bar, and $5 a person makes it accessible to everyone. We encourage everyone to come and meet candidates and know exactly who's going to be on the ballot then on June 10th.
Thank you, Diane.
Ladies and gentlemen, yeah, thank you, Diane.
Go ahead, Don.
This is a great opportunity for a listening audience to come out and meet your candidates and your elected officials. There's going to be many of them there. But unfortunately, I'm supposed to be there. I haven't had a chance to talk to Diane yet, but I have to be at Public Lands Committee next week.
Oh darn, we're sorry,
Yeah,
but things
Talking
happen.
about this very
Right.
issue we've been
Okay,
talking
right.
about.
And I just, thank you so much for speaking and sharing that information with us. But I kind of thought maybe you were going to say something about the Bundy Ranch, so I apologize. But that's okay. Thank you so much. You're always welcome to
No,
come
it
and
was
share
it
everything
was
like
shameless
that.
plug time.
Yes, and we
Right,
love
right.
doing that. We love doing that.
But we probably
Uh-huh.
should have, with Michelle
Yes, yes.
on the line, we probably should have
so-
stuck to subject.
And so
here.
that's why I wanted the opportunity to ask Michelle. You have a formal statement up on your website, voteforura.com, where you talk about the truth about the Bundys. And there is a link there to some BLM documents dated March 2014. How do those documents relate to the Bundy Ranch?
Because that's the Dry Lake Solar Project, and if you look through those documents, they'll show you maps of the Golden Butte area, and the greatest thing about those maps is some of the areas is exactly where those cows graze. It's very telling.
I've also heard that the BLM had redacted some information from their own website regarding the need to remove these cattle and get this ranch property under control. Is that correct?
Well, they're trying to cover their tracks, but thank goodness, like I said, for the internet and for, you know, public information, and a lot of people have this downloaded already and copied. So, you know, they can remove it from their website, but we have it.
Well, you know, no matter what direction you look at with this entire affair, Senator Harry Reid's name comes up, in my opinion. And he has a long history of questionable land deals in which he has profited handsomely. And now he's got his son involved to kind of shift some of the attention away. But I really think that this needs to be thoroughly investigated by Congress. It smacks of abuse of power and worse. I don't think we can let this go.
Well, you know what? When you say questionable, until a charge is actually filed, and that's, you know, where we stand. We're looking at one of the most powerful men in the country that we're going after, and that's an issue in itself, because of the status and relationships that person has. There's a very few that will prosecute, so the investigative agencies really have to be willing to stand up for what's right. And this particular incident with Harry Reid, I mean, he didn't have one word to say until the BLM backed off, until it was over on Monday. We were doing a press release out there, and then he comes on the news with his sunglasses and says this isn't over. Really, Harry? Well, no duh, because we the people are not going to let it be over either. BLM, first off, can never, ever hurt another cattle again. That's number one. And number two, now we've got to really focus on you and what the heck is happening out there, that you would send our government to put the people at
Michelle,
gunpoint
I hate
for
to
an
interrupt
on-bill.
you, but I hope you'll stay on again, because there is something I want to ask you when you come back. We're up against a hard break again, and we'll be back in a few minutes. Please stay on the line if you can, Michelle, because there is something I want to ask you, and we'll be back.